Visible quantum objects, Schrodinger's cat. What are we talking about here on the Daily Beltway? If you guys missed it, we did a video, I think about a week or two ago, that had about 8,000 views on it so far about Schrodinger's cat and quantum mechanics and string theory and the universe isn't real. Wow, crazy. But now there's another video going viral all over TikTok that talks about quantum objects and having them actually be visible in front of you and observable by scientists. My name is Tom. If it's your first time here with the Daily Beltway, please go ahead and click the subscribe button down below and hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date on all the latest breaking news. And I will be giving the exact same disclaimer that I gave last time, that I am not a scientist. I'm a kind of a techno-nerdy guy. I like reading stuff and learning up on things. But by no way, shape, or form am I an expert in any capacity on any of the things I'm about to speak about. And I'm going to link a video that for a gentleman called Aaron O'Connell, and he's talking about making sense of what in his experiments that he did to show what a visible effect would be for a quantum mechanics. Again, let's go ahead and get over to it. I'm going to link the video for the string theory and the universe not being real. I should have it over in one of these corners over on that side over there. We're going to go ahead and get into it today. It says theguardian.com, science punctuated equilibrium. It says making sense of a visible quantum object. And it came as, how can an object that is visible to the naked eye be in two places at the same time? It says, can an object that is visible to the naked eye be in two places at the same time? Common sense and experience told us that the answer is no. Until recently, in this presentation, physicist Aaron O'Connell tells us a little about the bizarre rules of quantum mechanics, which were thought to be completely different for human-scale objects. But are they really? In a breakthrough experiment, Dr. O'Connell blurs that distinction by creating an object that is visible to the unaided eye, but also provably in two places at the same time. We're going to get it. We're going to get teleportation, guys. I know it. We're just decades or centuries away from it. We can do this. It says, in this talk, he suggests an intriguing way of thinking about the result. And again, I've said before, you know, in the last video, that again, we linked over to it. They said that the universe isn't real. It also proved that quantum teleportation is possible. And it also proved that Schrodinger's cat, we went into what Schrodinger's cat is and all those other observations and how something could be in a superposition, whether it's either alive or not alive or dead or not dead. And by the act of observing it, then you actually can tell if it is, but the act of observing something will actually change that physical state. We're going to go ahead and cut over to the video real quick, and it's going to get into right when he's talking about it.
Didn't. And so I'd feel a lot better about the whole thing if we could somehow show that an everyday object also follows quantum mechanics. So a few years ago, I set off to do just that. So I made one. This is the first object that you can see that has been in a mechanical quantum superposition. So what we're looking at here is a tiny computer chip, and you can sort of see this green dot right in the middle, and that's this piece of metal I'm going to be talking about in a minute. This is a photograph of the object, and here I'm going to zoom in a little bit. We're looking right there in the center, and then here's a really, really big close-up of the little piece of metal. So what we're looking at is a little chunk of metal, and it's shaped like a diving board and sticking out over a ledge. And so I made this thing in nearly the same way as you make a computer chip. I went into a clean room with a fresh silicon wafer, and then I just cranked away at all the big machines for about 100 hours. For the last step, I had to build my own machine to make this swimming pool shaped hole underneath the device. This device has the ability to be in a quantum superposition, but it needs a little help to do it. Here, let me give you an analogy. You know how comfortable it is to be in a crowded elevator? I mean, when I'm in an elevator all alone, I like do all sorts of weird things, but then other people
Who doesn't do all sorts of weird things inside of an elevator?
Get on board, and I stop doing those things because I don't want to bother them or frankly scare them. So quantum mechanics says that inanimate objects feel the same way. The fellow passengers for inanimate objects are not just people, but it's also the light shining on it and the wind blowing past it and the heat of the room. And so we knew if we wanted to see this piece of metal behave quantum mechanically, we're going to have to kick out all the other passengers. And so that's what we did. We turned off the lights, and then we put it in vacuum and sucked out all the air. And then we cooled it down to just a fraction of a degree above absolute zero. Now, all alone in the elevator, the little chunk of metal was free to act however it wanted. And so we measured its motion, we found it was moving in really weird ways. Instead of just sitting perfectly still, it was vibrating. And the way it was vibrating was breathing, something like this, like expanding and contracting bellows. And by giving it a gentle nudge, we were able to make it both vibrate and not vibrate at the same time, something that's only allowed with quantum mechanics. So what I'm telling you here is something truly fantastic. What does it mean for one thing to be both vibrating and not vibrating at the same time? So let's think about the atoms. So in one case, all the trillions of atoms that make up that chunk of metal are just sitting still. Now at the same time, those same atoms are moving up and down. Now it's only at precise times when they align. The rest of the time, they're delocalized. So that means that every atom is in two different places at the same time, which in turn means the entire chunk of metal is in two different places. I think this is really cool. I mean, really. It was worth locking myself in a clean room to do this for all those years. Because check this out. The difference in scale between a single atom and that chunk of metal is about the same as the difference between that chunk of metal and you. So if a single atom can be in two different places at the same time, that chunk of metal can be in two different places, then why not you? I mean, this is just my logical side talking. So imagine if you were in multiple places at the same time. What would that be like? How would your consciousness handle your body being delocalized in space?
I think that would be awesome. Although I think a lot of us would actually go pretty crazy when it came down to it. They talk about like fourth and fifth dimensional beings and you know, science. And actually the other video that we talk about again proved that the multi-dimension theory actually exists, and that the electrons are present in our dimension as well as the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh dimension and the first dimension, but they're in all of them at the same time, and we don't know what atom is interacting with the other ones. I highly recommend you guys go watch that other video, but I just... Normally I'll cut in and talk a little bit over the videos just to worry about some of the copyright stuff, but I wanted to give him absolute full credit for everything here. And again, I highly encourage everybody to click the link in the description and get over to his video. It's just to help bring that back into popularity, and a lot of it's actually disappeared off of it. And I saw a TikTok, a gentleman, I forgot the guy's name, talking about this and how no other research has come from that. I mean, nobody said anything. There's no other papers that have been published to discuss, you know, superpositions or anything else, or string theory relating to his discovery on how we can actually observe some of these, you know, some of these quantum, you know, mechanic things that they've only theorized up until now. I again highly recommend everybody going to check out that video, which is a TED Talk, and then checking out my other video regarding the universe not being real and proven by scientists. I'm going to finish up the article on The Guardian. It says, growing up reading philosophy, playing the guitar, and generally not thinking about science, Aaron O'Connell never expected to revolutionize the world of physics. But an inspiring stuffed monkey shot from a cannon demonstration and a series of positive research experiences as an undergraduate propelled him to a graduate school at University of California in Santa Barbara. While there in an experiment remarkable both for its conceptual simplicity and technical difficulty, Dr. O'Connell was the first person to measure quantum effects in an object large enough to be seen with the naked eye. Named Breakthrough of the Year by Science magazine, the experiment shattered the previous record for the largest quantum object, showing decisively that there is no hard line between the quantum and everyday worlds. I mean, there's a lot of hippies from the 70s and even up to nowadays that will tell you that with enough of any of the illicit substances out there, you can see that whole world. Who knows if they're true or not? I mean, who knows? But I think that as the decades keep progressing, we're going to start seeing some things that are just, you know, truly incredible. We're going to start seeing some quantum computing. We're going to see those in our everyday life. I just did a video talking about helium-3 being discovered in usable forms on the moon, when previously thought that it was just, you know, only in particle form, and now they found it in a crystalline form, and grams of that can power entire cities for weeks, and there's enough on there for 230 billion metric tons, or 230 million metric tons of it is enough to power the entire Earth for generations, and then generations and generations to come, which could potentially solve our nuclear problem. It could solve our energy problem. It could solve a lot of things. And then once we start freeing ourselves from some of those bonds, and we really start going down the quantum mechanic and the science side, and we really start exploring things. And who knows, you have Elon Musk just came out with a faster than light travel engine that uses just the speed of an electron, or just the speed of an atom, that could propel the spaceship further and further into space, and it'll literally get you up to 99.99% of the speed of light, and maybe even faster, now that we know that electrons and some of those photons can go faster than the speed of light. Who knows how many rules of science and physics and things that we thought we could never break. Maybe they're only relative to Earth. Maybe they're only relative in a dimensional sense. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I know it wasn't the entire 15-minute video or 18-minute video or whichever it was, but again, I recommend you guys looking into that and try Googling it. Seriously, there's not a lot out there on it. There's like the Guardian article, the Science magazine article, which, it was about the same thing that's in here. It was just a brief synopsis of what the guy did, and they really don't even link to his research papers. So it's possible that the United States government was like, hey, you're an American citizen, and we're now claiming your research underneath the DOD doctrine, whatever, and they claimed it. That happens all the time. There's tons of technology. If you look into Myers and his water car, and how he was just using sound waves and pulse PME technology to break water into hydrogen and fuel his car with that, that was seized by the government or big oil companies, and that's gone. So again, it's going to be a wild couple decades coming up. But I think that now that the internet and social media is starting to get a lot further along, that a lot of the things that were easily quietable, decades ago, aren't so much anymore. Because once it's kind of out there in the internet sphere, things are kind of out there forever now, and you're starting to see people make discoveries and make all sorts of crazy cool things happen that was previously thought impossible. And we're allowing people in Africa through Elon Musk's Starlink to really get educated up and get free education now. That's the whole reason why Elon Musk did Starlink. Yeah, he's making a lot of money with the DOD, whatever, I get it, and he's under investigation. But the general theory behind why he wanted to do Starlink is so people in impoverished nations can actually have access to world-class education and really bring the entire world up to speed. It's a really, really unique thing. And who knows who the next Einstein's going to be, who the next Nikola Tesla is going to be. And it could be some kid in a village in Africa that we never would have heard about, or we never would have known of his brilliance without that. So I think now that the world's starting to go in a certain direction, that we're going to see some incredible things in the next 10 to 20 years that we never would have thought was possible. I mean, my grandparents were born in the 1920s, and they thought the airplane was pretty cool. They didn't even know that jet engines were possible. And so from my grandma's lifetime, she saw, jet engines come out. She saw the nuclear bomb. She saw a man land on the moon. She saw the rise and fall of communism in Russia. She's seen all sorts of crazy things before her death. And she saw a global pandemic, the birth of the internet, and all this crazy stuff happening. I mean, who's to say that our generation isn't the one to see it? From when I was born till now, like, cell phones were in a briefcase. Now we've got mobile computers in our hands that are just, literally we have all the information at our fingertips, and we're looking up TikTok videos and doing weird dances, when if we were to give this tool to somebody in the 1800s, they would think that they had the power of gods. Sit back and actually think about that. And start applying what we can do and how we can get further in life and how we can make others better as well. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, share this. I'm a new channel. We're trying to grow, and I'm trying to sound desperate, but it's fun to do these things, and it's fun to talk, and I enjoy criticism as well. If I suck, tell me. If I'm wrong, tell me again. I want to get better. Thank you. Have a great day.